Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night to anybody that's listening to that Peacocks podcast, which is this podcast that we're doing right now. I'm Jake. We're not joined with Josh today because he's gone off to work with the BBC and go to proper football games and go to Bristol Rovers. He's left us here by ourselves. But I'm also joined with Dan. Dan, you want to say hello?
Yeah, hello. We're talking about proper football. We've got one today, a big game.
Very big game. Weston at home. We played them 4 times before Christmas. And they beat us every time, all at their place.
Apart from one,
yeah, which got us to the Southern League Cup final.
But I'm sure we'll get onto that shortly.
I don't think we need to get onto that,
Should
to be honest.
That part?
Yeah, never happened as far as I'm concerned. Just wasn't even a thing. But we've also got some guests in the Peacock suite with us today. We've got Johnny and Reese. I hope I got your names right.
You have?
I tried to remember there. From Away Day Diaries. They've been on quite a journey this season, following the FA Cup at every stage.
Every stage?
Every stage.
Every round. Every winner.
Ideal. And for a brief time, spent time with us to watch us go to Weston in the FA Cup, where we got, I think it's safe to say, our pants pulled down in Weston.
We can skip that bit, like the Royston one.
Like the Royston one, yeah. It never happened.
We can talk about the Shepton one.
We probably will talk about it in a little bit. How are you doing, guys?
Good, yeah. Thank you for having us.
No worries. Yeah. Thanks for coming down. Safe journey. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it was local to us. I mean, from Cardiff, so it's an hour away. It's a fantastic day to travel. So and we're looking forward to the game. Second time we've seen a Taunton Western game this year.
Ideal. It's the
but we won't
fifth
talk
time
about
we've
that,
seen
will
one.
we?
Well, you can talk about this.
We definitely will
we'll
come on
touch
to it
base.
at some point. Before we get started into all the football-y questions, though, we ask everyone that comes on the podcast this question. What is your go-to thing that you buy from a service station?
Always, Maynard sports mixtures.
Oh.
They are worse than wine gums because they're very hard. I don't really like them that much, but they always find themselves in our car on away days.
Yeah.
Would you tend to agree?
I'd
with that?
agree with that. Actually, saying that, do you know what my go-to buy all the time actually is? These really, little fruit pastels that are sours. I love the sours.
Sour
Gotta
figs.
buy those.
That's a good shout.
That's a sours.
Wow.
When you're travelling back at 2 o'clock in the morning for a football game, you want to keep awake, don't you?
So as you found out, we're into health foods.
Yeah.
So yeah, sour sweets and
Sour
sports
sweets and
mixtures.
sport mixtures.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I
that's
agree.
about
I
right.
mean, when it's 2 o'clock in the morning, the last thing you want is a McDonald's or a fast food thing.
I don't know. I could do it.
I mean, yeah, at the time you're thinking a great idea, but afterwards you're thinking, why on earth have I done that?
Always feel
Yeah.
dreadful after a McDonald's.
Or
If you get the McPlant. Have you tried the McPlant?
I've not.
They're
I'm not
vegan
into these.
option.
No.
No, so
I'm not a giraffe.
I'm not too fussed when it comes to. I worked for a little bit for a vegan food company running their socials, and so I like to try all these vegan alternatives that are out there.
It's a big thing now, isn't it? A lot of people are getting on board with the vegan and things like that. Yeah.
But I thought, and somebody I know had a McPlant and said this tastes exactly like a normal McDonald's burger. Bullshit. No, I was like, I'm not having that. I'm going to try it.
Is it cheaper? Is it cheaper?
It's a little bit cheaper, but
Right.
to give them credit, if you didn't know it was vegan, I don't think you'd necessarily know. It didn't taste exactly the same, but it passes as a burger.
Okay.
And
I'm
then
not
you
doing
also don't feel awful after eating it. Because if I have a Mackey's, then that's me. I'm knackered for the rest of the day. It completely writes me off. But I had the McPlant and I was like, I'm full up and I don't feel like I'm going to die. So
You're ready to go.
it's not too bad. I've not had one since. I've gone straight back to having a double quarter pounder, but,
Here's
it was
a
a good
debate
option.
then. Would you call a burger anything that isn't a meat thing in it? Would you say a chicken burger or would you just call it a sandwich? You eat it, you work it, eat the bird. Would you say the McPlant is a burger?
Yeah.
A burger's anything
It's
with
got-
2 buns, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
as
the
far as
burger
I'm
is-
concerned.
You
No,
know,
that's the patty.
Yeah, but you call that the burger, don't you?
You do if you're being wrong.
I don't know.
No, we had
that's
this debate at work the other day because I called a patty a burger, and they were like, "Well, it's actually a patty." And I was
Oh,
like, "Yeah,
no.
do
Gotta be a
one."
burger. Sorry, gotta be a burger.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'd call it a burger.
So you'd call the McPlant a burger?
I'd call a McPlant a burger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Ideal.
Fair enough.
Anyway, moving on to what we're actually here to talk about,
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
is a good time to do it. Lads, like we said, you've been to every round of the FA Cup this season. Where did that start for you?
Well, we started last year. We tried to do this last year's FA Cup.
Before lockdown, wasn't it? Before it hit.
Was it before? I don't know if it was before lockdown. I can't remember, but there's reasons we did it for, and then there's reasons we stopped doing it last year and tried again this year. But I think that's your answer really to this particular question, isn't it? Why we did it, and getting it together.
Yeah, well, 2019, my wife and I lost our baby boy at 20 weeks pregnant. And yeah, I was we were both in a really, really dark place, really, it hit us hard as it would. And we wanted to do something to sort of, we wanted to go along and remember him and do something to sort of for his memory. And we both love football, as we've already touched on. We're Cardiff City fans. Someone's got to be. And yeah, we decided, you know what, part of my bucket list is to visit every ground from the Premier League down to level 10. So your Wells, your Bristol Manor Farms. So yeah, we thought, why not combine the two and really, give it a go. We started last year. We visited Wells in the extra preliminary. We went to Bideford and then Tiverton. This year we started in Shepton. Yeah, Shepton Manor.
We had to stop last year, mind, because there's a bit of good news because Lucy's pregnant again, and
My wife Lucy.
yeah.
Oh,
So now we got Sammy, our little grandson, your boy. He's now 18 months,
Fantastic.
and now we love going around the grounds this time because
It gets him out of the house.
gives me something off, you know. So
Yeah.
but yeah, last year we did it, and we didn't film it last year.
No.
We just thought we'd go along to the games, collect the programme, enjoy it. And this year, do you know what? We weren't going to film it. And then about a week before, he says, I don't know, should we film these things? And I thought, okay, yeah, we'll film it. And about a day before, he says things like, should we get managers' interviews as well? And I go, hang on, we're not on BBC yet. But we did. And do you know what? We put it up on YouTube, and it's been great. We've enjoyed it. And and we're now at the semi-final stage. I got a ticket and he hadn't.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
We'll fight over that.
We'll fight over that.
We'll have
ticket.
words later on.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if we know anyone at the FA Cup.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Prince William, he's I
Prince
think he's
William,
high up.
yeah.
in
If
the
you can
FA.
get in touch,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Prince
I
William,
don't-
if you are listening.
I don't have his number.
Okay.
He's a Villa fan anyway, isn't he? So he wouldn't be interested in this time, would he?
No, I mean he might have a spare. Yeah, he might have a spare ticket.
Yeah.
You might know a few people.
Go on, this crown.
Yeah.
His son doesn't want to go, does he?
So obviously this year we started at Shepton.
Yeah.
How many games did you get to with Shepton? I'm so
It's
clueless.
probably our record number of games, I think,
Yeah.
in Shepton. I think
They're,
about 4.
4 games. They're our most popular sides. So they
Yeah.
won and they kept winning. The only team that can match them this year is Man City. I mean, that's the feather in their cap, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, Shepton and Man City are going to be at equal. That's if they beat Liverpool in the semi. So yeah, it was Shepton Mallet. But we didn't factor in replays. You see, when we go along to our first game, they drew their first game 0-0. And the replay was that Tuesday, wasn't it?
Andover New Street.
Andover New Street. I'm thinking, oh, bloody hell. Oh, we got to go to a replay as well. We didn't factor that in, so I went, you were working, and went there. We're lucky, we've only had 2 replays.
2 replays, yeah.
So just a couple of, it's about 15 or 16 odd games we've been to so far.
So obviously then from Shepton it was Taunton. Was it 7-1 off the top of my head?
8-1.
8-1. Yeah.
So that was my first FA Cup game that I'd been to as part of the club. The first FA Cup game I ever went to was the Tiverton Taunton game the season prior, which was 5-4. Sorry, a big crazy game. I had a great time that day. And yeah, it was Taunton did the job fairly successfully there. I think
He played really well. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It was 5-3.
5-3.
I think it was. Yeah. Owen Howell scored the penalty.
Owen Howe scored the penalty
Make it
against
5-3,
his
yeah.
old club.
Why always me?
That's every club now, really, isn't it? That's Owen Howe's old club.
He loves it.
Bless him. He's been about.
Journeyman.
He
Scores everywhere.
does indeed. And then, was it straight to Western after Shepton?
It was.
Yeah,
That was depressing.
that hurt.
Well, I've got to be honest, we were talking on the way down when we were the golfing class. For the Shepton game, it was the first time we'd seen it, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. I think that the games that we'd witnessed, Shepton, Andover, and I think Melksham as well, yeah, I mean, they were all pretty much the same sort of level. And then, of course, when we had the Taunton versus Shepton, you could see the difference. Not just the goals-wise, because there was plenty of them, but yeah, the quality of the players, the game itself, the confidence. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Even the fans. It was the first time we sort of heard the fans with a bit of an atmosphere.
Yeah, chanting on it. I mean, you took a lot of fans up to Shepton.
Yeah, it was quite nice. Yeah, I mean, with it just it was Somerset. Somerset v Somerset.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans enjoy it because it brings back to the good old days. We used to play Shepton and that in the Western League, and I think for some of the older fans, it was quite nice to go there and have some memories of old times.
It was interesting though. The Taunton fans, I think they were cheering. They were saying to Western fans, "We forgot that you were here," and actually. A little, proper football chance, and it was a good atmosphere.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed that game.
8-1, 3-0 up at half time. We were chatting to Shepton manager before the match, weren't we? And even he was saying this is the toughest draw we could have got. And we said to him, "You excited by that or worried by it?" And he said, "We want to test ourselves, don't we?" And 8-1, but. It was a good game, and then it was done at Western, wasn't it?
It was, and again, we were talking about this. It was surprising because we really thought that in the same league you could go to Western and get a result, but it wasn't to be.
No, unfortunately not.
No, I mean I was very confident that day. I don't know why, but we got there and I was buzzing. I was like, tidy ground. This is nice.
It's right on the seafront, isn't it? The ground.
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah. And Weston's a lovely place in the right weather. If it's anything less than sunny, probably not for me.
True.
But there we go. And we popped up. We went away. Lee, who runs our shop, and I had a pint. I was like, I'm having a lovely away day here. And we're gonna batter Weston. We're gonna beat them for the first time in what was it?
And then it kicked
38 years. And then it kicked off. I was up in the gantry. I had a load of Western fans below me, and they were all bullying me. And we just went wrong.
Set the tone.
And it was it's one of those. It's football. I love the FA Cup. Cup football is the most exciting football around, in my opinion. And I was buzzing to hopefully have a good FA Cup run, and as far as we got would be great. I just was hoping that it was going to be more than 2 games for my first season working with Taunton, but there's always next year. We'll probably win it next year.
We thought we were going to follow Taunton to the first round. We thought as soon as Taunton were involved, didn't we? Because you beat the first round before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Barrow.
Yeah.
That's when your favourite word, replay, came in, and we went off up to Barrow. Not me personally, but... Yeah. They went off up.
That's a hell of a journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bet you stopped at a few service stations there.
Yeah.
Bet you never had any plant burgers there, though.
No,
I can't imagine.
You can ask a few supporters around and mention Barrow away, and I'll tell you a few stories about it.
Well, it's in the book, isn't it? Climbing the...
No, that's the Billericay
That's the Billericay one.
Yeah. We came to a replay again, but that was 4th qualifying. We didn't quite make it that time.
Heartbreak.
Against Glenn Tamplin's Billericay.
Who?
Not heard of Glenn Tamplin?
No.
Wow. He's just a really rich bloke from Essex.
Okay.
That thought he could put a team into the Football League, and he failed as a result.
Yeah.
Do you fancy buying Cardiff City?
Oh,
That'd be
I
good.
don't think he's got the funds for that.
Hadn't he? I bet he might
I don't know.
He might not change the badge or colour, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
It's all subject.
Do you know what? That split fans, big friends. I mean, one of my best mates, he's passed away now, but me and him didn't speak after that.
Were some people for it?
Yes, well, I wouldn't say they were for it, but they just accepted it, didn't they?
Some people wanted the money that came with the colour.
Yeah.
The owner promised investment if we changed to red, change the badge to a dragon. Yeah, and that's what they wanted. They wanted success.
But it worked, really, didn't it?
In a way, it did. But in another way, changing colours, changing the crest. I know teams have done it in the past. Salford won fairly recently, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've changed. But yeah, I think history and things like that are important, aren't they?
It's a short-term fix, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
look at us
what it
now.
was.
I mean, we're back where we were, so
Yeah,
it didn't work
exactly.
in the long run.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, it is what it is. But as I say, football-wise, I love places like this.
Yeah.
You know, smaller teams. Cardiff got Swansea today, massive game. And normally we'd be there. But as I say, for us, it's much nicer, better. And when you consider, we put out videos when we were, we're not, and we didn't do it, did we, to get views on our YouTube channel?
It's just,
Can I just promote that? We didn't get views to put on the YouTube channel, but when we you know, we get 300, 400, 500 views, whatever. Bristol Rovers got about 900, but then when you started getting Peterborough, Man City, Southampton, just dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if people want to see non-league football, they're interested in non-league football.
Yeah.
But when it gets to Southampton, Man City, Peterborough, whatever, we get in 50, 60 views. Not that we do it for that, we do it because it's fun.
You know what I think that you mentioned earlier, that you love the FA Cup and you know it's your favourite sort of competition. I think the teams in top 3, top 4 divisions, I don't think the FA Cup is something they look out for. I've got to admit, this is the first year that I have really been excited for the FA Cup, on par with us in the Championship with Cardiff. Before that, it was a competition that I sort of overlooked. I would sort of discount the weekends the FA Cup was on. I'd look at the next fixture, who we got next.
Yeah.
And I think that's got a little bit why the views are sort of trading off, because I think that top teams don't really take it seriously. They don't want it, and it's a real shame.
You don't shut half your ground for an FA Cup game, do you?
No.
You know, Cardiff City for our game, they shut 3 of the stands.
Yeah.
They just open one of the stands now, and it doesn't mean anything to them, but it means a lot to you guys. And to
I
teams
think
like you.
probably the FA Cup has the potential to be some of the biggest games of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at Taunton now, we're fighting for a title, and we're sort of every game now for us is a cup final, really, and these games are huge. But I reckon, you know, if you go on an absolute wonder, like you look at the likes of who was it that drew West Ham?
Kidderminster.
Yeah. You go on a draw like them, and you go on a run like that into the third round, and you get a Premier League club. Imagine West Ham coming down to Taunton.
Yeah.
Mad.
I'd be having 2 weeks off for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd have to.
I mean, going back to a couple of years back, you played. Was it Man City? You played on a Sunday, wasn't it, in the FA Cup?
Yeah.
And I went there, like De Bruyne scored where he played
I
put it under the wall.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was at that game, and I think it was like a sellout, wasn't it? But I felt more of a buzz at a Taunton FA Cup game than I have at a Cardiff v Man City. You know, the holders, the FA Cup holders are rocking into the city, and
I think there's only a few clubs, even in the Premiership, in there that could get a full house at Cardiff City. I mean, Cardiff draw this year. I think we drew Preston, didn't we?
Yeah.
And not like it's just like a league game, and people are thinking that and going, "Oh, I'll spend my money on a league game. If it's the FA Cup, I'm going to go into town with the missus." These days, whereas when I was a kid, the FA Cup would attract double the attendance for a league.
Yeah.
And now it attracts a third, a quarter.
Yeah.
People don't bother. But I think that's why we love doing this. The excitement in the early rounds has been amazing. Absolutely
It's been
amazing.
great, and I think it's been proper football. If I could, I mean, that's a word that's sort of banging around a lot, but you know, you've got managers out cutting the grass, you've got owners sort of selling tickets, and it's real community spirit. And you know, the players, especially at Shepton and Andover New Street, to play in the FA Cup is brilliant, and I think that's what creates the buzz around the club and makes it a bit more special. I think you don't get that with.
I emailed the Andover chairman, email, can we come down, can we interview whatever. I said, so could you let me know the name of the manager? He went, well, yeah, I'm the manager too. And then
next scenario, isn't it?
So, Dorking Wanderers, I'll tell you what, the story of Dorking Wanderers is unbelievable, isn't it? 20 years ago, their players were paying to play football for the Parks team, and now they're second in the National League South. And the manager who was a manager of the Parks is still a manager.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Are they the ones?
They have
The little documentary.
quite good on
Bunch of amateurs.
Bunch of amateurs, yeah.
That's a brilliant documentary.
Incredible to watch.
From what I've seen, it's really, really good.
Yeah. But that's his story. That's the FA Cup story. That's the story of clubs, and that's the stories we want now. You know, just to follow them, to have a look and to see Dorking, Hayes. Then we hit your Sutton, then your Bristol Rovers, and your QPR. Suddenly, it just becomes your normal football again. But now, as I say, we're in the semi-final now.
Who is the club? Who is the club that you're following at this point?
Man City.
Man City.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said that earlier. Yeah.
So they're now our club.
Who, in my opinion, I don't think are going to get past Liverpool.
No?
No. I don't think they will either.
As much as no disrespect, as much as I don't fancy Liverpool as football team, I mean, you've got to want to look at it and want them to win the quadruple. Really, you want to see something like that in your lifetime. You know, a team that dominates on every competition, every game.
I do have a bit of a soft spot for Liverpool. Pretty much all my mates like Liverpool. You don't,
No,
because you're an Everton fan.
Do you?
Yeah.
But that's fine because to
Unfortunately,
be fair,
thank you. I'll see you next year.
I was going to say that'll be you two in the Championship, won't it, next season? That'll be a
won't
big
go
game.
down. Everton won't go down, I don't reckon.
See, I keep saying that, but I wouldn't mind it if they did. I think it'd be very interesting to see one of the big clubs relegated, because stuff like that rarely happens.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal toy with it at the beginning of every season at the moment, and they quite fancy it. Do you want to grab the door quickly? And everyone banters Arsenal because they have a string of bad results at the start of every season, and go, "Oh, they're going down this season," and that won't happen. But I feel like with a club like Everton, it could happen. As long as it doesn't happen to West Ham, I don't mind.
Oh, mind you were relegated every other year, weren't you? Until you went to the Olympic Stadium.
It felt like it.
Doing really well this year, mind as well, West Ham.
We're
That's a proper.
Europa League.
Europa League. Yeah, what's it? Leon in the next round.
Tough game.
Tough game. I think our toughest game of the Europa League's been and gone though. That was Sevilla.
Yeah.
Tell you, I don't have second teams, but if Cardiff City didn't exist, I've always said I'd support West Ham
Good club.
because I
do,
think it's a proper working man's club. I don't understand people who have second teams. Always say, "Paul, this is my first team. This is my second team." I really don't get that.
I'm going to name check one of the lads that used to play for me when I managed, James Gilbert. He was the chairman of the club I managed as well. And he supports Man City and Arsenal equally.
No, I got no words for that.
When they play each other, he just hopes it's a draw and no one gets hurt.
Wow, can't get that.
That just doesn't make sense to me. He says he was an Arsenal fan, and then France beat England in the World Cup or something, and there were too many French players for Arsenal, so he started supporting Man City, and he's just not been able to shake either of them. He's bless him.
Wow.
He's a character.
Yeah.
Is our James Gilbert, but there we go. Going back to the FA Cup and the journey you guys have been on, what's been your favourite game that you've witnessed in the FA Cup run this season?
You know what? I'm going to say our second game, Melksham versus Shepton. Club I've never been to, club I've not really heard of either, which was a plus for me to sort of get to know that. And I just think the Shepton ended up winning. They won 1-0, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
They beat Melksham, who were league above, which was a bit of a shock. It was the first time we got noticed. I mean, a few of the Shetland lads sort of realised that we were doing the video and they recognised us. Yeah, and Melksham got a really good little setup there. They got a few pitches, they got a brand new stand, and yeah, it was that was one of my favourite games, I think.
I enjoyed that game as well because when Shepton weren't expecting to win that, because before the game, because the draw had already been done, hadn't it? For the two preliminary rounds, the draw's already done, for the extra preliminary and then the prelim. So they knew they were going off to Melksham if they won. Yeah. And I tell you what, they only just beat Andover. They were lucky in that first game with Andover to draw 0-0, and Andover nearly took them. But Melksham were talking about, Shepton were saying, weren't they? Oh, Melksham's a tough game. Melksham's a tough game. That'll be really tough. And they were almost talking themselves down. And they got there and they won. What I loved about it was at the end of the game, they walked off and they were in the middle of the pitch, they were applauding their fans as if they'd just won the FA Cup final. And I played to a really low level, Parks level. And you know what, that's what you play football for, is to get a bit of adulation. Yeah. And they were getting it. And I imagine how they're feeling. That must be great for them to get. They were walking off the pitch, they were clapping at the fans that had travelled. That was a
it was a special moment for them.
Special moment for them.
I kind of felt part of that as well because we'd been there for the Andover game. You went up to the replay as well. We then went to Melksham, and it was it felt like a proper game of football.
That was the first time we had a player interview. First time we felt like the BBC then, because after the game we grabbed the keeper, didn't we? We had just have a little interview, and he was buzzing, wasn't he?
Yeah. Shout out to Tom. Tommy
yeah,
Easterbrook.
Tom Easterbrook. Hello,
Yeah.
Tom, if you're listening. Tom Easterbrook, big Cardiff City fan as well. Tom Easterbrook, which we found out he did the Ayatollah, didn't he?
He did.
During the middle of the game, which is the Cardiff City sort of head patting routine. So we interviewed Tom, and he was buzzing, and because he was buzzing, we were buzzing. That was a great game. I think that was one of my most exciting games. Well, that was my favourite game. My most exciting game was the Dorking Hayes game, which went to replay, then extra time, then penalties. And Hayes, the underdog, won at that time, which was a bit of a shock. But I didn't get back till 2 a.m. there. We were so open that it wouldn't go to extra time, and then so open it wouldn't go to penalties. And then they kept on scoring their penalties. So just time kept going.
Yeah.
I think is it the record Tottenham hold?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
It was just recently beaten for the
34
longest.
penalties. I
Yeah.
think it was.
34 penalties.
Yeah.
Blimey. But was that at night at about 11 o'clock when the last kick went in?
Yeah, it's League Cup.
Was
Yeah.
it?
I think
Wow.
30. It's like half an hour it went on for. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you can do with queues getting out of car parks at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
11 o'clock at night, a queue getting out of the car park, I'm just thinking, oh, get me out of here.
Infuriating.
Get me out of here. I've got to be up for work for 6 tomorrow morning.
I mean, the worst one we've had a couple of years back before you joined, it was Beaconsfield, so up towards London way, so almost Heathrow. We drew here, and then they play on a Monday evening. So 2 days later, we're off up there, and that went to extra time and penalties.
Yeah.
So left worked in Wiltshire, left there about 5:30, I think, straight up there, got there 7:30 for a quarter-way kick-off. Done all that, filmed it, went all the way to extra time penalties. Back home about 2 o'clock, I think it was, and then back up for work at 7. It's just like, when you do stuff like that, it's like, I bet you were thinking, what on earth am I doing this for, you know?
It was, because it was just raining as well, and it was chuckling down the rain, and there was a great attack, and we thought, all right, I'll film this. And of course, my other son, Gareth, he's our editor, he came in because you couldn't come, and he's holding a brolly like that, and the guy's just about to take a shot, and as he turns to watch a shot, his brolly comes down in front of the camera, and I'm thinking, I didn't come 2.5 hours here to get no action, and just a shot of an inside of a brolly, and little things like that, but it just made us laugh. You know, in the end, if he didn't laugh, he cried at that point. And that was good fun. We've had some fun along the way, haven't we?
We have, to be fair.
We've had a bit of a laugh, and that's the whole thing about bonding, isn't it? You know,
Well, that's it.
After everything happens.
Yeah, well, touching upon why we did it. I mean, unfortunately, you've gone through a very similar experience, haven't you? With Stefan, my brother.
Yeah, my first son, we lost first brother. It was interesting. We lost our first son at 8 months. And of course, I lost my first grandson then, and your first son, and it's just the bringing together. And they say football brings people together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And we just spent time together, didn't we? And we had a laugh on the way up, and whatever. And the whole thing just doesn't make anything right, but it just makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what you got to love about football, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you see the supporters, like, they go on the trains up today, and it's their escape. That's
Yeah,
the
it
thing.
is.
It's the escape
Good
from
word.
reality.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's wonderful what football can do. It really is.
That's brilliant, and we've met so many amazing people, and we've witnessed so many great games, and like I said earlier on, finding clubs that we didn't even know existed, and it's just been brilliant, and it helps the old bucket list to tick off new grounds.
Absolutely.
As is today is a new ground for me, so it's brilliant.
Fantastic.
First time at the Signet. What a dream.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, it
The
almost,
place of
it
dreams.
nearly was last year, but it didn't quite make it, but it is. I mean, I'm 54, right? You're
29.
Thank you. He's always said, I don't know. 29. But you've done almost as many games as I have, almost as many grounds as I've done. But there's some you've done I haven't, and vice versa. You've done Colchester, the old Layer Road, done at Colchester. Blimey, that was a trek and a half for you. The furthest one I've been to Newcastle. But furthest, I think Colchester's probably the furthest one you've been. Mind you, you've been to Nantes, haven't you? You've been overseas.
Been to a few overseas as well, yeah.
He's had a few overseas. But,
What would you say is your favourite ground you've ever been to?
ever been to?
Yeah.
I've got a definite for that.
I've got a worst ground,
Go on.
but I don't feel as though...
You do your worst round first.
Alright then, Macclesfield. Before they went and changed to Macclesfield FC.
Yeah.
Before Robbie Savage took over there. Macclesfield Town away. You could put your finger through the stand that you were in. It was all rusted. Dreadful day, dreadful weather, and we lost 2-1.
We lost 2-1 the year after we won the FA Cup. The year after we won the FA Cup, we get knocked out of Macclesfield.
We got to the FA Cup final. Unfortunately, we didn't win it in 2008. Yeah.
My favourite grounds, it's always been a favourite ground, I don't know why, Coventry City.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And I'll tell you why, because I think I just like the ground. It's a neat, tidy ground. It's a bowl, like a lot of new places are. The acoustics aren't great because the height of the stand is so high.
Yeah.
I just love Coventry City as a grounds. That's my favourite grounds I've been to.
Fair enough.
I've been to a lot of Premiership grounds. We went to Everton last, didn't we? That's a typical ground. You're moving, aren't you?
It's nice. I've been there, and it's nice to have gone there before it moves.
When are you moving? When are you going?
A couple of years, I think.
Oh, still a few years
yeah.
ago, is it?
I mean, just touching on grounds. What was been your favourite ground on your little trip so far in the FA Cup?
What do you reckon?
It's a tough question.
So we had Bucket Hat Sam come on the pod a couple of weeks ago. You may know from TikTok and stuff like that, and he goes and does little ground reviews.
Yeah.
And he went to Weston as one of the first ones he did, and they're still third from bottom of his table of grounds.
Didn't enjoy it. No.
Did not have a good time at Weston.
That's an old one, isn't it?
It is. Location is great. The ground itself, it's a bit mishmash.
Yeah.
There's a few different stands. They look different. And
I would say the best one I've been to, it's got to be one of the smaller ones. I'm not going to say Southampton or whatever, because you expect them to have a great ground, don't you? But I'll tell you where, Dorking Wanderers.
I would agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
Everything was brand new. Everything was perfect. It wasn't, even outside the stadium, there wasn't a bit of rubbish. There wasn't a bit of graffiti. Everything looked pristine. And
well, they rent their ground from the Surrey FA. So
it's right next door, actually.
Right next door, yeah. Nice and good, because they got nice. I always like a terrace beyond the ground, a bit like Weston.
Yeah.
I always like a terrace beyond the ground, beyond the goal.
Yeah.
Nice bit of terrace, big enough to hold a decent enough lot of people. But yeah, Dorking was new. It's a nice setting. They put a bit of money in there as well.
That's the good thing when you get a nice new ground. When a small club gets a nice new ground, they're going to look
Yeah.
after it and they want to. It's that almost said, it's everything to them.
Yeah, it was a bit like Hayes, isn't it?
Yeah.
That stand they put there looks great. That would have done a Football League ground, to be honest. But I mean, what happens here now? I mean, because where are you going to go if you get promoted now? Where are you going to go? Which you going to the south?
National League South.
National League South, yeah.
Would you have to do anything to this ground to
Not
get
at the moment.
Not at the moment, no.
Everyone's set to go.
Right.
And then things will happen and change as we go.
Where would you develop this ground then, do you think? Where you want to know? What would be your developments?
This side would be the development.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've only got the small stand this side, but
Yeah.
I think that's all. It's all in
I
the
think,
pipeline
I was going to say,
somewhere.
people that know things are working on sorting out and sort of developing the ground at the moment. We don't really.
They've always
get
got a
told
next
much
step
about
plan
that.
somewhere
Yeah.
in a book. We've
got
got
a
a folder.
got to have plans in place, haven't you? With the position you're in at the minute,
Well,
which
yeah.
is brilliant.
Absolutely, it's. I've said it so many times on this podcast, but it is a very exciting time to be either a Taunton fan or involved in Taunton.
I think just the Southern Premier and like this league in general, it's just been horrendous. Like some of the results you look at, you think, what on earth is going on?
Yeah.
You can look at a set of results on a weekend, and you couldn't pick who's where and what.
Yeah.
It's been a hell of a season.
So club fans that come here, because we were talking on the way down, weren't we, that you can't have plastic Taunton fans, can you? Because, if you live in Taunton, with respect, I mean, every game is a big game for you, but surely you want to have fans coming along, I'll come to the Western game because it's a local derby. I reckon if you're a Taunton fan, you just come to all the games, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely see more people through the door
Yeah.
in games like this, and we have done since. So I think before the Tiverton game here, we were averaging sort of 300-400 fans in the ground. Tiverton, we then had 1,400 turn up. We had to delay kick-off because we couldn't get everyone in time, and it was a huge day. And since then, we've gone up. We're probably looking for 5, 6, pushing 8 at some points now as we're getting to the end. And like Dan said earlier, before we started recording the podcast, you're thinking possibly around 2,000 today.
I actually think so. Yeah.
Because it's a local one. So you do get more people turn up because of the occasion. And then quite a few of them tend to hang about. That was good fun.
But if local people supported a league side, who would it be? Would it be Exeter or would it be Bristol Rovers? Or
Yeah, I mean, Exeter, I think, is probably the main one that people will keep an eye on in this area. And we got a good relationship with Exeter as well. Normally got some players of theirs on loan throughout the season.
I like to see that. I like to see clubs having good relationships with.
It's quite nice because
You know.
we've had Harry Kite, who came on a couple of years back, and he's broke into their first team now, and he's doing really well.
Yeah.
Joel Randall as well. He's at
Yeah.
Peterborough now. From
yeah,
Exeter to
yeah.
Peterborough. Western, as an example, had Ollie Watkins, who scored in the week.
Don't tell me Harry Kite, right? Don't tell me, right? Because Cardiff had a keeper called Phil Kite, who was ex-Bristol Rovers goalkeeper. I think he played for. So surely there's got to be a relationship there, I
Maybe.
reckon.
There
Well,
might
that's
be,
the
yeah.
question.
Yeah, blimey, that's a blast from the past.
Before I was born.
Yeah, that was probably about the 80s, I reckon. Something like that. So,
Well, we've got talking about like players that are related to other players. Obviously, Matey. I've forgotten his name. Plays for us.
You're not talking about Nick.
No, Toby Holmes.
Toby Holmes,
His
uncle's
uncle?
Matty Holmes.
Yeah.
For, West Ham.
He
Wow.
was
yeah.
almost murdered by, what was it? The geezer that did his injury.
Oh, mate, you played for Wolves. Was it
Yeah,
Wolves?
I think so. I don't know. He's ended up
Razcat. Was it Razcat?
Yeah, something like that. Career ended quite early.
Yeah.
I think in his club after he was at West Ham, and then obviously, like say,
Just because you've got a
Toby
favourite
Holmes'
sibling,
uncle.
do you always expect them to be as good as a sibling when they come down here to play?
No, I wouldn't say so.
No.
No, because we've got Nick Grimes, and we've seen what he's like playing football, and we've seen what his brother's like playing football. So he's disproved that straight away.
Matt Grimes is the definition of tiki-taka,
Yeah,
and Nick
he's
Grimes will
class.
clear a stand.
Yeah.
So he's more TikTok, is he?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
definitely.
Tick, tick,
More
boom,
TikTok.
more like.
But yeah, no, it's always interesting, and I like going through and finding sort of, you look at the players we've got now, where they've played before and who they've played with. Like
We've
Lloyd.
got one Cardiff, ex-Cardiff.
We do, yeah, Geffen Hill.
Yeah.
So another one of our strikers, ex-Cardiff. He is finally getting back to pretty much full fitness now after having his face torn apart by a goalkeeper earlier on in the season. Yeah, big collision. Was
Both collided. He
accidentally.
fractured the eye socket or jaw or something.
So he was out for a couple.
Yeah.
Not as long as I thought he was going to be. To
No.
be fair,
Is he a top scorer now?
Not quite.
No,
I
I
don't
think Toby's still
Toby's still
in the
there.
lead.
Did you say he scored a hat-trick against...
RFA Cup run, against Shepton.
Did Shepton, did he get a hat-trick?
I feel as though he got a hat-trick.
Toby got a hat trick.
Toby got a hat trick.
Yeah.
Did he?
Dan McBeam scored.
Geffen.
Geffen
Geffen got the
definitely
two penalties, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored
Did two
twice, I
penalties.
think. Yeah.
Well, actually, no, he must have got a hat-trick because he got the two penalties. Didn't he score with a header as well in the first
Yeah,
half?
I don't know.
He might have done. I think no.
Yeah.
I think there were two
It is.
people got hat tricks in that game. Toby
Yeah.
and Geff. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he's here. We got like Lloyd James,
Yeah.
who if you look at him on socials, every photo of him in his profile picture is always him playing against. Is it Berbatov?
Berbatov, yeah. So he played for
And-
Southampton, yeah.
Like it's just strange. Obviously Ross Stern, who's out injured at the moment. We've got an old colleague of his coming down. Is it Wayne?
Wayne Shaw.
Wayne
will have
Shaw.
on at some point.
Old Pie gatekeeper from Sutton a couple of years back.
Blimey. Yeah.
So he's going to come down. We're going to chat to him about his sort of career in football.
I'd love to sit next to him. He'd make me look like Twiggy.
If you ever go to Totton, he's their marketing guy there.
Oh, is he?
So we went there a couple of years back when we were in the league below, and he was making the pies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
surprising.
amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Comes out in an apron and just checks how everyone's getting on, and that's fantastic.
Oh, by the way, the best fish and chips or the best food I've ever had at a game, Andover New Street. I'll put it out now. Curry and chips, amazing. Amazing. What's your food like here then at Taunton? Would you rate it?
I think we've got some good options for
Have you?
food. So we've got the little cafe stand. So the sandwiches from there are banging. I love a sandwich.
Yeah.
We've got sausage and chips sort of deal in the middle, burger and chips, and
Yeah.
then on this side we've got the Mexican van.
Oh, Mexican.
So you can get
Impressive, yeah.
burrito,
I'll give that a
nachos.
miss. That's the only food I don't like is Mexican.
No?
Yeah, I don't like Mexican food.
Gutted.
That's the only food I don't like. I'll eat everything else
That's a
apart from
shame
Mexican food.
because the burritos, though Josh, who like we said isn't here today,
He's a big
did a
fan.
food review. He
Yeah.
loves a burrito. He
Yeah,
reckons
he
it's
really
10 out of
enjoys
10, one of the best things he's ever
Really?
eaten. And I like it, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, but it's not a 10 out of 10.
I
Nothing's
don't think
a
it's
10
up
out of
there.
10.
No.
It-
My
but it's-
favourite's
it's
the coffee van's got the sausage rolls, and they're like a proper
Yeah.
sausage roll.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. think my favourite sausage roll I've had.
That's the thing about doing our little Away Day Diaries thing, right? We get to know, because I think the last couple of times I went to Peterborough, I don't know why, but I just got to know the burger van man, and I thought, well, if I stick with Peterborough now and go through, and of course, what happens then? He says, next time you come down, free burger on the house. So, you know, there's some
Amazing.
perks. And then, of course, you travel all the way down there, you queue up, you spend 10 minutes queuing up, and then he don't recognise you. And he still charges you for it.
Nightmare.
But there we go.
Did you have a burger at Hayes?
We couldn't do the queues, could we, at A's? Because he was just chucking it down with rain.
Yeah.
I thought, why are they good?
No.
Oh, really?
Oh, you didn't enjoy it, did you? No.
That was one of the probably least good bits of food I've had at a ground so far this season. The only thing that made it better was halfway through the burger I realised it's where they shoot Ted Lasso. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's okay. I'm happy now.
Yeah.
That was exciting. But yeah, other than that, poor burger.
Yeah.
Lads, I think we're probably going to have to start wrapping up the podcast now. Like I said, we're in the Peacocks suite. We've got some sponsors in today, so we're just going to do a couple of closing bits. Dan, the Club Shop, our unofficial podcast sponsor. What do you reckon the item of the day should be today?
There's only one thing we can shout is the new 2022-23 home shirt, which
Absolutely.
was released yesterday, available for pre-order. Should be with us in June.
75th anniversary.
75th anniversary.
It's a very nice shirt.
It's really nice.
Obviously we've seen it a couple of weeks
Yeah, I
ago.
mean, we went through the designing process. There was a couple options. One that might make a return in a few years' time, which is a very nice one. But yeah, happy to see it and happy to see people enjoy it and actually like the
Really,
design.
really positive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of
Always a nice
positivity.
thing.
So, like we say, that's available to pre-order now through the Club Shop or online. Online as well. Tell you.
There we go.
Technology, eh? What a dream. But that is it for that Peacocks podcast for the week. Lads, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
Hope you enjoy
Thank you for
the
having
game
us.
today.
Will do.
Fingers crossed it's not going to be a repeat of last time you watched us play Weston.
Or a 0-0.
Or a 0-0. Fingers crossed it's a good game. Dan, cheers, bud.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining me again.
Pleasure.
Josh, hope you're enjoying Bristol Rovers, mate. Leaving us here all day. Don't even know, is Hoppy here today?
Don't know.
I hope so, because I'm going to have to leave, so I can't do the filming.
There we go.
But there we go. We'll move on. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time we have a reason to cause a podcast? To record a podcast. My brain stopped working. I think it's time to go. Cheers, guys.